He was mixing her pH with my pH, caused me to be off. I will say my cooch used to be up higher. And then as I've aged and have gone through menopause, now, in today's video, y'all, I want to talk directly to the women in two major things that impact us as we age in our sexual health. And I can remember, y'all, back when I was in my 20s and 30s, I had no idea. I used to hear comedians talk about it, but I didn't know what it was when they say where her coochie is not where it used to be. I didn't know what that meant until I experienced it myself. So if you are having symptoms of, let's say you're coughing, you're sneezing, you're laughing, and a little bit of urine comes out, kind of little pee pee on yourself, there is a specialist who deals with this. And I'm going to say, I am highly, highly recommend if you're dealing with anything that I'm about to talk about when it comes to the pelvic floor, please see a pelvic floor therapist. Just like as men, as a lot of you men age and have to deal with ED, and because it's impacting your confidence, it's impacting how you show up, and it's ultimately impacting your relationship. So, what do you think is happening to us women when we're dealing with these issues? It's impacting our confidence, it's impacting how we show up. So ultimately, it's impacting our relationships. Please stick around and try to understand if your partner's going through this, ladies, and if you want your man to understand from a different perspective, like my perspective, y'all share this video. Let's help each other out. So, some signs and symptoms if you are having pelvic floor issues and you want to catch these very early. Please, because I'm about to tell you a story that's a little traumatizing. So please pay attention. You could either have an overly tight pelvic floor, and I'm not talking about having a tight coochie. Ooh, I want a tight coochie. Oh yeah, I'm not talking about a coochie. I'm talking about your pelvic floor. So it's the muscles that's holding up your rectum, your bladder, and your uterus. If at the end of the day, when you're walking around and doing whatever you're doing, and then by the time the end of the day comes, if you're feeling a lot of pressure down there, when I say down there, I'm talking about your pelvic floor into your vagina. If you're feeling a lot of pressure, and it's probably making what sex very uninteresting because there's so much pressure down there, making you just not want to be touched at all because it could be very painful. If you're having low back pain a lot, if you're having just cramping, just when you feel like something's not right down there, you could have issues with your pelvic floor. That's why it is so important when these issues come up, please y'all go seek the help of a doctor. I have a really good girlfriend who's been my friend for a very long time. She has had multiple children, not multiples, but she has had multiple children. And on her last pregnancy, because she returned to running, the activity where gravity is just pounding and pounding and pushing on your pelvic floor, because she returned to running, her pelvic floor was too weak and her organs fell out. So here's the thing about having a vagina and not a penis, right? The vagina we know is an opening. We know that there's an opening, and if and what's holding up your organs, your bladder, your rectum, and your uterus, what's holding them up is your pelvic floor. So she had to have reconstructive surgery because she noticed that something went right as she was running. Literally felt the pressure go in between her legs. And you know what happens if that is to happen to you? Please understand, we're getting older, y'all. We're mature. I've gone through menopause, and I know many of you have as well. These are issues that are impacting us, and this is something that might impact you. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm sharing some of the things that I've learned about because I have gone to see a pelvic floor therapist back when I was having children a million years ago, right? We didn't have social media, didn't have Instagram. That snapback culture wasn't prominent, right? Like, look, that girl, she just had a baby 3 weeks ago and she already in her bikini. Y'all, the internet has destroyed so much of that mentality to where you got to be perfect all the time. And you don't, you don't. You know what? If you have a little belly pudge after you have a baby, you know what? It's all right, baby girl. It's okay. Instead of trying to snap your body back, I'm telling you right now, you better snap that coochie back. You know, the only thing we heard about was maybe do Keigels, and I thought Keigels were, oh, so I can have a tight cooch, right? That's what I thought they were because I can't think of 30 years ago a doctor really talking to me about why Keigels, why your pelvic floor is important. Never. I honestly, and clearly my girlfriend, nobody's ever talked to her about it when we were growing up. And so you got a lot of women my generation, honestly, not knowing what we were supposed to have been doing. So now we're in the treatment plan instead of the preventive plan. And there are different types of prolapses. So you can have a prolapse for either all three or one individually. So you can have a prolapse where your bladder is protruding, it's pushing and pushing down, or your uterus or your rectum, if you think about if you're constantly constipated, can cause a prolapse in the rectum area. Mm, I know I started this series. I said we was going to have adult conversations. Y'all, we're going to have adult conversations because these things are absolutely impacting our sexual health, our lives, our relationships, because we're not really educating ourselves on what's going on with our bodies. We're thinking, okay, all I got to deal with hot flashes. Mm-mm. Girl, you might have to be dealing with your damn uterus falling out your cooch. Okay, so it's not just hot flashes and it's not just, oh my gosh, I can't remember things. It's more than that. If you choose to go see a pelvic floor therapist, y'all, I'm gonna tell you right now, don't be shy. When you see one, because I'm telling you, you're gonna be bearing down, she's gonna be all your legs gonna be spread wide open, she's gonna be all up in it like you're giving birth, but you're not giving birth. Sometimes I go to a Chinese, and yes, they're Chinese. I'm half Chinese. I have Chinese and I'm half black. And so no, I'm not just saying any old Asian place is Chinese. No, I go to a Chinese place to get a massage sometimes around here. And sometimes when I go get a massage, I forget I was supposed to put on underwear and I didn't put any on. As I'm getting ready for her to come in there, I'll just put the towel, I'll be all modest. I'll put the towel all the way up. And when she comes in the room, she rips the towel off. I mean, if you're going to that type of place and massage, look, I'm telling you right now, you can't be shy. So, and she's rubbing and rubbing to the point to where I'm like, you're really close to many intimate areas. And after the massage, she and I will share a cigarette. And then I'll show her pictures of my grandkids because my grandkids are now her grandkids. Cause I'm like, we go together now. Because that was a very intimate massage. They don't care. She's doing her job. And so I'm gonna say the same thing about a pelvic floor therapist, y'all. She's going to do her job. So just be prepared, wash your cooch, get ready, and be clean. Because in order for them to diagnose what stage you're at, how far along is your prolapse, so how weak is your pelvic floor, or how tight are your pelvic floor muscles, you're going to have to bear down. Okay, so let's talk about some ways to prevent it. If you're in your 20s and your 30s and everything is still fancy and footloose and everything's still up here and your cooch is still up here and everything's just bouncing like that. Okay, well, good. I'm glad you're here and welcome to the show. One is a lot of y'all that hold your breath a lot. Like, I don't think you even realize how often you hold your breath. Anytime you hold your breath, let's say you're lifting weights, you're doing something, right? That it could be even just standing and sitting down. You don't even realize how often you're holding your breath, but that holding in the breath, that air, you're pushing down on your pelvic floor. You're causing the pressure to worsen. You cannot lift heavy weights without breathing properly. I grew up in an era where everybody was doing crunches and sit ups. There are so many ways to get a nice tight core that have absolutely nothing to do with laying down and sitting up. I know when we were younger, yeah, we did a whole lot of crunches, didn't we? Look up some exercises that work your core that do not involve any crunches and any sit ups. So, what about treating the pelvic floor? Again, see a pelvic floor therapist. I went to one for a little while, so I'm gonna share some of a little bit that I learned from a pelvic floor therapist. One, y'all, you got to go to yoga. Yoga is great because they have the happy baby poses. They have a lot of poses that's going to work on strengthening your pelvic floor, but not only strengthening it, but stretching it. Because some of y'all have really tight muscles versus very weak muscles. Yoga will accomplish both. Now, I'm not talking about the yoga to where you're doing all kinds of hard poses because I don't take that kind of yoga. I ain't even gonna lie. I don't take the hot yoga. I don't do none of that stuff. I took the hot yoga one time and I said, oh, y'all will never see me again. Y'all will never see me again. Not knocking those who love it. Go for it. Try it. All I'm saying is do the basic yoga, okay? The root yoga, yoga 101, and start strengthening up those muscles because I believe in the meditative practice of yoga. I talked about this in my video where it was titled Sex Over 50. Then another thing you can do, y'all, is get the vaginal dilators. That's what it's called. I was calling it fake body parts, right? It's called a vaginal dilator. And yes, my therapist had recommended me to get these because one, if you're not having sex on a regular basis, and I was seeing a therapist in 2020 when the world was shut down, and I was not physically sexually active at all, really, because at this point I was still, post divorce, and still I was single at the time. She told me to go ahead and get these vaginal dilators, and I saw that and I said, oh God, I hope my kids don't see these because they are not sex toys. They do, they look like doll parts. That's what they look like. They look like they're not cute. They're not made of rubber. One would think that they're not for pleasure. Okay. But if somebody saw them, they'd be like, what the hell is she doing with these? They're vaginal dilators. There's a million reasons why you would want to invest into having a vaginal dilator. So look them up. Again, see a pelvic floor therapist or your GYN to make sure that that is what you're supposed to be doing. Having a pelvic floor issues is one of those reasons that can absolutely cause painful sex. So y'all don't suffer with this. The earlier you treat this, the better, so that we can get back to fulfilling our part in our relationships, our sexual relationships. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're just turning 50, 50 is too young, 60 is too young, 70 is too young to be sitting here and saying, you know what, I give up on sex. No, if painful sex is causing you to not want to have sex, y'all, I'm telling you, the medical industry has advanced so much when it comes to learning more about the power of the cooch. Let's educate ourselves. Let's get to the doctor to see what can I do to improve my sex life. Okay, so don't just lay down and give up. I mean, lay down, but don't give up. Give it up, literally. Another thing you can do to treat it, y'all, learn some good breathing exercises. The breathing is everything when it comes to doing Kegel. As I explained in the previous video, but let me just quickly explain. When you're doing a Kegel, when you're breathing in, your belly needs to protrude. Okay. A lot of times we just naturally over years, right? Because I think women, we be trying to hold in our stomach. Y'all, we have become accustomed to breathing in our chest, not in our stomachs. So if you're going to be doing Kegels, y'all, you have to breathe through your stomach. Your stomach needs to poof go out like, okay, and that's how you know you're breathing in correctly. When you are breathing out, you need to tighten everything, all of it down there. Okay, tighten, tighten, tighten. Don't hold your breath. Don't tense up. You're just tightening the muscles down here. Another tip that I would give is y'all avoid running. Just think about it. It's constant pushing down. It's gravity. And as I said in the last video, y'all, gravity ain't necessarily our friend. And in this case, if you have a weak pelvic floor, gravity ain't your friend, girl. It damn sure ain't your friend because it's just pushing down on the pelvic floor. So if you're running, girl, maybe start walking. Okay, maybe start. I know maybe some of y'all don't want to go to the gym and ride the little bicycle, the recumbent bike, but you're going to have to stop putting the pressure, pushing and pushing, pushing down on your pelvic floor. Like I said earlier, like with my girlfriend, where her organs actually fell out and she had a double prolapse, right? If it gets to that point, you ever see, I know y'all seen a commercial on TV when it was like, if you or somebody you know has had the vaginal mesh, there you go. That's that damn surgery because I know her and I talk to her. Just know this, if that is you, your sex life is not over. She still has healthy sex with her husband. So, what are some of the best sexual positions you can have if you have a dropped pelvic floor? You still have you can go. He can still go deep sea diving in there. There's still an opening, but it might be a little uncomfortable. It might be a little bit more painful. What can I do if that's my issue? Well, I'm glad you asked. So the last video, remember I talked about the man is suffering from maintaining an erection, right? Gravity is not his friend. He cannot lay on his back. He has to be on top to push the blood flow down his penis, okay? His thing, right? And guess what? You woman, girl, you're the one who gets to be on your back because gravity ain't your damn friend either. So if you're used to being on top and you're pounding, just like I told you to not be out here running, I'm gonna say don't be out here riding no horse either. Okay, you might not be able to ride the horse. You might have to just stay back and allow him to drive the horse because gravity is not working for you, girl. It's working against you if that's your problem. So y'all a match made in heaven. He on top, you on the bottom. Men, if you watch it, women don't care about 30 different positions. Pick your favorite one and let's keep it moving. Okay. I once, my kids watch this. I just want to say, I once knew a person who had curly hair. I mean, kind of like this. And one time she had an adventure where that guy tried every position that he could possibly think of. And it was just probably the worst. She was ready to go home. I mean, I remember her telling me this story. She may have looked just like me. So not only do you have to watch the position, y'all, you're gonna have to take it slow and easy. Your sex life is not over, but we want to continue to have healthy sex, right? So on top of again, seeing your doctor, we want to make sure that if you're in a monogamous relationship, I should have said this in that very first video that you guys so graciously watch, and I sincerely thank you from the bottom of my heart that so many people resonated with that video. So in that video, I said use the coconut oil and the vitamin E suppositories. I'll link them down in this description below as well. If you are using condoms, you do not want to use an oil-based product, okay? Because I'm talking to 50 and over, but you know what? There's a lot of us out here 50 and over who are single. So y'all ladies, if you're 50 and over and you are single and you are using condoms, you do not want to use an oil-based product. You're going to have to use a water-based lubricant and get a lot of it. Okay, so but if you are in a relationship that's monogamous and you guys have both been tested for STDs and you're both clear, you better use the hell out them vitamin E suppositories. And why the coconut oil? The area down there is very thin and very sensitive. You use the coconut oil on the exterior of the skin, and it's very moisturizing. You can put it in your hair, you can put it on your skin, you can put it anywhere. You can cook with it. I mean, don't cook with this coconut oil. Okay. Girl, if you're going to use this coconut oil, don't put that coconut oil back in the damn kitchen. Okay. Your kids be done went downstairs and cooked some damn eggs with your coochie oil. Don't do that. Don't do that. Keep this coconut oil in your bedroom. Come on now. Because a lot of times the pain, yes, it's internal, but y'all, sometimes the pain is also external because you're stretching the skin and the skin might be too tight. If you are using condoms, a viewer, hey girl, she made a suggestion about aloe vera. Now I use, and I still want to do a video about how to take care of myself because a lot of y'all commenting like, yeah, ain't no way ain't no way she a grandma, ain't no way yes I am, yes I am. So I do want to still do a video about how to take care of myself, but I use the heck out of pure aloe in my hair, on my scalp, especially when at one point it was itching really bad. So anyway, I want to do a whole separate video about like how to take care of my skin, how to take care of my hair, how I eat, exercise, and all that other stuff because I think it's beneficial. And again, I just want to share the knowledge, right? Let's help each other. Okay, and another thing I do want to absolutely talk about is why it's important to maintain the pH balance of your vajayjay. It is very important. And if anybody is younger listening, please, please, please hear me out. When I was married, I kept going to the doctor because something was wrong. My pH balance kept getting off. And I was married. Okay. I kept going to the doctor and they kept prescribing Metrogel over and over and over again. The Flagyl and the Metrogel, right? Over and over and over again. Until one day, the nurse pulled me aside and she said, and I remember that nurse, if I saw her in the street, this was about 20 years ago, saw her in the street, I would definitely recognize her. She asked me in my ear, do you think your husband is cheating on you? Because I know she got tired of seeing me just as much as I got tired of going to the doctor office. And at the time, I was like, no, no, I don't think he is cheating on me. The constant imbalance in my vajayjay caused a friable cervix, which meant that anytime my cervix was touched, it bled, and it bled massively. It caused me to not be intimate for many years. And so therefore, I just kind of just kept to myself. Anytime I had sex, it looked like a damn murder scene. Okay. And yes, this is a very personal conversation, but I'm hoping this conversation would, if it could just help one person, then I don't mind sharing my story. I did eventually catch my husband cheating. I caught him in a hotel with his then so called best friend, who was a woman, but he was cheating on me. I didn't know it. The fact that he was mixing her pH with my pH caused me to be off repeatedly. Now, is that the case all the time? No. If your pH is off with your partner, look, it happens. It happens. That doesn't mean your partner's out here cheating. So please don't be going home and accusing your partner because my pH, no, that's not the case for everybody. So please don't do that. Anytime you're swimming, exercising, and or if his energy is being released inside of you, can absolutely cause your pH to be off. It happens. That wasn't our problem because for years, I didn't have that issue. And then all of a sudden, I started having the issue. So something had changed. I didn't have the itching, I didn't have the odor, but my coochie constantly let me know. She said, I'm here, bitch. Pay attention to your body. That's the message right there. Use boric acid suppositories, y'all. Take some boric acid, uh, put it in the capsules. Okay, you can just get a plain capsule bottle, right? A little pill bottle. Just take the boric acid, put some in a veggie capsules. You do not have to make, you can buy them already pre-made, and I'll put that in the description below. But y'all, I'll also put in the description below just some regular boric acid. Yep, the same shit that kills roaches. Yes, it's the same. Yep. Yeah, you can use a double duty. You can go around your house and kill some roaches. You can also, yes, put it up in the vajayjay. It will help maintain a healthy pH in you. If you are inserting the boric acid, you cannot have sex for 24 hours. So just know that. So if he releases his energy inside of you and you put in boric acid, you cannot have sex for 24 hours. Okay. You have to wait. Especially in my early 40s, I was definitely using boric acid all the time. Now that, I'm postmenopausal, my cervix is 100% better. Because the doctor told me as you get older, your cervix will harden. So I'm 100% better. I have no issues whatsoever. But my pretty much my whole 30s, I had to deal with that. So I wanted to share that because I want to help y'all prevent that. I don't want anybody to have to go through all of that. Okay, because it definitely impacted my marriage, and that and his wandering dingaling in the street. I want to be very clear. I don't blame my ex-husband for the demise of the relationship. It takes two people to sustain and keep and maintain a relationship. Two people, and both parties have to be willing to do so. Period. Besides the boric acid, y'all, let's make sure we're cutting the sugar. Let's make sure we're drinking a whole lot of water. Let's make sure that we're doing things. You got to, again, eating and exercising will always, always, always be on my to-do list, and it should be on yours as well. So as I did with the men, y'all, for the women, y'all, want to recommend a book as well, because I do a lot of reading because I like to educate myself. But for the pelvic floor, look, this is the book that I recommend. I'm going to put this in the description. This was a very good book about how to improve your pelvic floor, and it goes into a lot of details about what you can do. Like, let's say that if you have been struggling with having an orgasm, because let's say that you used to be able to have orgasms and you're now struggling with it, it could be because your pelvic floor is weakened, and some of your organs ain't in the same damn place. Okay, neither is your G spot. Like the things that may have used to work may not work anymore. That's this book was good. Or if you're finding yourself with frequent urinary tract infections, could be your weakened pelvic floor. Either way, I'm going to put this book in a description. Yeah, y'all pick up this book. It is written by Jane Simpson. I think she did a really good write-up about the pelvic floor. I'm going to recommend another book because in this book, she actually details some exercises. Yeah, I told you I'll be reading. Okay, and I'm trying to share the knowledge because I want you to go to the source and get the information yourself so you can be educated as well. This also is a good book. It's called let's see, what it's called? Restoring the Pelvic Floor for Women, written by Dr. Amanda Olson. She is actually a pelvic floor therapist, and I read her book, she actually lists some exercises that can be very helpful with strengthening the pelvic floor. That's why it is so important to see somebody like her, an actual therapist. You can look one up in your insurance just to see if you can find one close to you. If this is the first time to my channel, y'all, I am Vee Mindful. I'm a relationship coach and published author. Y'all, here on this channel we talk about everything related to relationships, and that includes sexual relationships as well. My content is for the mature person, being 45, 50 and over, y'all, because I feel like we have a different set of challenges as we out here dating or maintaining our relationships. I do offer one-on-one coaching to men and women. I have male and female clients because I am a dating and relationship coach. I am someone who's gone on a few hundred dates. I am in a relationship. Okay, let me just say that I am happily in a relationship. However, I am somebody who also loves to talk about the masculine and feminine imbalance, communication issues, as well as issues with our attachment styles, because I am also a former avoidant. If you like this type of content, may I please ask you to like and subscribe and share these videos with anybody who you think would benefit from the information.